two people sitting having a conversation on the internet. You sit and think and wonder to yourself, is this a podcast? All right, welcome to the 7th episode of Is This a Podcast? I'm your host, David Thorne. I'm here today with my very, very good friend, Izmeiah Brown. How are you doing, Izzy?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on, dude.
Oh, man, it's so good to see you and talk to you, man. This is like my best friend in the whole world.
It's true. I've known you.
Yes.
How long have we known each other?
Oh, God. I know I was...
It's 20 years this year, because I met you when I was 18.
Yeah, I don't remember how old I was. How old are you again? You're like what?
I'm fucking 38.
Okay, so I'm 2 years older than you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
I don't know. Are you?
I'm 40. I guess I'm 2 years older than you,
that's
right?
2 years.
I'm terrible at math. That's why we have calculators on our phones, so we don't have to do math with our heads.
That's true. That's true. If I had to do math with my head, I'd just be SOL.
Yeah. Anyway, my very good friend Izzy is going to talk to us today. I have some topics that I'm going to ask you about.
Oh,
now,
man.
I'm from the South, and he's still living in the South. And
yes.
Growing up in the South, I know he's gay, which I was wanting to ask you a little bit about you being the gay in a small town in the South. The gay, the only one, like you had to organize the parade all by yourself.
All by myself.
June was your busiest month.
It really is.
Organize the parade, make the float, decorate, all that shit.
It's true. And the entire time you're dodging KKK. So I mean it's rough,
But no, what was it like, growing up in a small town being gay?
Well, when I was younger, I remember there was a lot of bullying and there was a lot of pushback. There was a lot of people saying, you're going to die of AIDS, or you're going to be shot, or you're going to be killed, or people are going to drag you, or, tie you to a fence. Or there was a lot of that fear. And that fear was really, I guess, pushed by my mom and my grandmother. And, my dad, this story, but me and my dad, we didn't talk for years, Funny thing though, Lifetime hasn't really, I guess, done too much, but Lifetime, my dad was actually like moved by a Lifetime television movie, and that's how he accepted me being gay.
Wow. The wonder of Lifetime.
A Lifetime television movie. I think that
was it the one where the lady got trapped in Walmart pregnant and gave birth overnight, and like some dude like jumped through the fucking front window? You know the one I'm talking about, right?
I know the one you're talking about. Yeah. Dude, I wish it was. That would be so funny because it would be so non sequitur.
Yeah.
But I think that if I remember the name of the movie, I think it was called Doing Time on something Drive. I don't remember it started with an M, but I don't remember the street name. But like, you remember this story. You remember I was walking home from work from Hardee's.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. You know the story.
Yep.
And a mutual, shall we say, friend? An acquaintance? Someone we knew?
Yeah, someone that we both hung out with. I know I hung out with.
Yeah.
You not so much, but small town, we both knew the person.
So I was walking home. I was walking across a parking lot, which was a vacant parking lot because Pulaski had already started to breathe its last breath. And they were like calling for me to come over, like waving at me and like all this, honking their horns. There was a group of kids. I guess they were high school kids, or in their 18 to 20 range, somewhere around that age range.
Yeah.
And they were like trying to coax me over, and I'm just like, I'm smarter than this. This is how you get tied to a fence. So what ended up happening was they drove across the parking lot, like breakneck speed. And it was the Heilig Myers parking lot.
Yep.
and like they were, I didn't think they would like run over me. Like there was not that like that fear that they were going to hit me.
Yeah.
But they came as close as they absolutely could, because I was on the side, like on the edge of the sidewalk, and I mean, like I could have reached out and touched their car.
Yeah.
You know. So then they like zoom around and come back, and at that point I had already went into the creek because, and for those of you who don't know, it was a parking lot, and then there was a creek, and then on the other side of the creek was my grandmother's house where I lived. So I had already went into the creek and hid because I figured, you know, I didn't think they were going to throw me a parade, you know, like,
yeah, no.
So they get out of the car, they don't really say anything, and then there's a couple of shots fired, like into the creek bed.
Damn.
And I just remember thinking, oh shit, you know, like, you know, this is bad. Like, is this going to be like the last of me?
Yeah.
And here I am, like, I'm fucking like stupid. I'm like 18 years old. I've got like I had been seeing Malin over at the over at Hardy's where we worked, and I had like all of this art supply shit with me. So I'm like, you know, I'm drawing and all of that, and I had all of this like crap with me that it was so awkward.
Yeah.
But not necessarily, like, I wouldn't say that I was terrified. I honestly, if I were to put the feeling into words, I would say I just kind of expected that was par for the course.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't sad, I wasn't terrified, I wasn't angry. I was just like, oh, this again. Yeah, this again.
Yeah, I remember that mutual friend. And the funny thing is, like, I heard through another mutual friend of ours that he was, like, getting sucked off in a club by some dude, like, years later. Yeah, after trying to run you over. That's hilarious. Thanks for sharing that story with me, Izzy. What we're going to do now is we're going to move on to a topic that is probably very near and dear to both of our enlarged hearts from the amount of drug trips that we took in the past. Me and this guy have had so many drug trips together on things that aren't illegal.
That are completely completely legal.
We were freaking drugstore junkies. we fucking went to Walmart and had so many days on the Coricidin, high blood pressure, cough and cold. Oh my God. Just
so many.
Tell me about one of our more memorable trips.
Oh God, where to start? Let me think for a second, because I'm like, memorable trips. Okay, I can tell you the first time I ever did Coricidin.
It was with me, probably, wasn't it?
It was with you.
Of course it was with me. I'm like the bad influence. I was just like, hey, guy.
I got some drugs in a box for you.
I've been hanging out with these dumb bitches at Wendy's, and they taught me how to get high off cough medicine. You should try it.
So, shout out to Shanna and Julie.
Oh, no. Fuck those girls.
So, okay. The first time I did I did not drugs, but Coricidin, you had given me some, you'd bought me some. And I was, it was summer. I remember that because it was warm. My cousin had come over to see my dad and my mom. And I come out, and it's like 6 o'clock. The sun's kind of setting-ish. And my mom is like, what do you want for dinner? And I go, I want to walk across the floor sideways until I get to the wall. And then when I get to the wall, I want to walk up the wall sideways. And when I get to the ceiling, I'm going to walk across the ceiling sideways like a crab. And the entire time I want to be doing this. And my mom just looked at me and she goes, go to your fucking room. And I heard my cousin. He was standing at the door, but he had heard what I had said, and I just heard my cousin go, "God damn!" Like, but if we were to talk about like the most memorable drug trip that I think you and I have ever had,
yes, we had some crazy ones.
we've had some crazy ones. Okay, so there's two that come to mind right off the top of my head, and I want to address both of them because they're both just gold.
Yeah.
The first one was the time Derek threw up on me.
Yup. Yup. I remember that one.
Okay, so for those of you unacquainted, me and David did so many drugs that we started recording with a camcorder our days because we couldn't remember them. I wish I was joking. And so I had the camcorder. Derek was in the back seat and David was driving. And you were looking at the trees and you were like, "Hey, there's Jesus. He's in the trees." And I'm like, "I don't see it. I don't see." He's like, "He's right there in the tree. Look." And I'm like, so I like took the camera and I'm like pointing it and I'm like, "Is Jesus over there?" And about that time, the camera just catches this wave of pink on both sides of it.
Yes, I remember.
And
that.
I instinctively just go, oh. And Derek behind me, he's like, "I'm sorry, God, I was tapping out." I'm like, "No one can fucking hear you tapping out. You have to say something." And I'm like, "What did you throw up on me?" And he's like, "Chicken nuggets and chloroseed." And I'm like, "Fuck." So I have like this like stringy chicken in my hair and all down my back, just all over me. I get out and I'm like bitching. I'm on the camcorder. I still have the camcorder. I'm holding it and I'm like bitching. I'm like, "Pop the trunk." About this time, you're all like, "Why am I smoking a fucking basic?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And so I grab a towel out of the trunk. I'm like, "All right, I got a towel." And you're like, "It's always best to bring a towel." I'm like, "Yeah, I get it. I fucking get it." And so I get to the passenger seat and I'm like scrubbing it off me and scrubbing it off like the seat and everything. And I'm like, "David, will you help me clean this?" And you're like, "No, I'm smoking a fucking basic." And I'm like, "Great. Okay. Awesome. Cool. Awesome." So I finally get it cleaned up as best I can. We go back to my grandmother's. And grandmama's like, "What happened to you?" And I'm like, "Derek threw up on me. I need to take a shower." I'm like, "Can I borrow one of your blouses?" And so she gave me like this like maroon V-neck blouse that she had. And she's like, "Here you go, baby. Why did Derek throw up on you?" And I was like, "I guess he got sick in his stomach. I don't know." and so I took a shower. Then we went to your house and I don't know what we did after that, but I do remember, I remember all of that vividly. Second trip.
Now on that one, I seem to remember like having my face painted for some reason, and my hair was all crazy. Yes,
you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Yeah.
I want to say you had Juggalo painting.
Probably so. It was back around that time when I was stupid.
It was like white and black.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, back when I was stupid. I mean, I'm still
so
stupid.
Glad I didn't take a drink of that. That would have been all over my fucking music.
But yes, the next one.
The next one. Okay, so there's like a tie here. So one of the ones is the one where Session 9 and Jeremy throws up when people run.
I think I remember that. That was a fucking excruciating movie to watch on medicine.
It was. Okay, so Session 9, I've never seen it sober. I have no idea what it's about except for some people cleaning out some asbestos.
Yeah.
Maybe. And one of them goes nuts, and there's like some recording of someone who's like trying to pretend like she's nuts. Or, I don't know. I don't know. But we rented it on a 24-hour like direct TV. Like you can rent this for 24 hours, and we watched it like 8 or 9 or 10 fucking times. I still don't know what it's about. I can't tell you what that movie is about, except there's one scene where this guy is running across a gymnasium and he gets, I think, killed. Maybe. I think he does. And anyway, my ex-boyfriend Jeremy was with us. And so he runs across the thing, and then Jeremy's like, and he like goes and throws up. And then you just look at me and you're like, running makes Jeremy throw up. We just started laughing for no reason. That was the night we were taking care of Pumpkin, my grandmother's Chihuahua.
Uh-huh.
And that was the night that we were driving through Pulaski. It was like 8:00, and we were in the back of your Beretta. And Jeremy looks at me and he's like, "What are your dreams for the future?" And I'm like, "Oh, I want to meet some guy and get married and have kids." And he was just like, "Oh," and I was like, "But not with you." And then he was like, "Oh." Sorry. Oh, he did that like thing that he do.
Yes. He did do that. Oh,
sorry,
no.
I didn't mean to snort.
No, it's cool.
The other one, okay, so I'm trying to think. Probably the most notable trip after that one, the tie, would have to be the time that Trey Ray was at Derek's house and they got into a fight and for whatever, they were just like, Derek started screaming,
Yes.
And I think the dumber part of that, the dumber part of all of that, I got scared. I was terrified. I don't know what I was scared of. I wasn't in my right mind, but I got terrified, and I was like frantically trying to wake you up, and trying to wake you up is like, that's just, it's really hard to wake you up.
Oh yeah.
And I was like pushing you and literally punching you in the face, trying to wake you up. I was like, and I wasn't like, I was like, wake. And you were just gone. And so finally you managed to get up, and you like get up and go, "What's going on?" That was the night that Trey Ray, he had kissed or licked my neck. I don't remember. He did something to my neck, but anyway, I like followed him outside to see if he was okay, because he was literally rolling around in the grass. He was doing cartwheels or front flips or something in the grass.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Are you all right?" And he was like, "I'm not gay." And I'm like, I know. Are you okay? That's what I'm asking you. Are you fine? Do I need to call someone? Like,
oh,
so yeah,
man.
I think those are the memorable drug trips.
Nice. Yeah, those are some memorable ones.
What about you? Like, what's your favorite drug trip?
Oh,
that
God.
We've been on?
Like, one of the ones that I stands out is that day we were riding around, and we were riding on the back roads, and there was that dog that was chasing us, and you were out the window barking at it, and I was like, I'm gonna teach this dog a lesson, and I brake checked the dog, and the dog hit the back of the car. And then later on that night we were driving around, and we drove by that bar, and my car had all these stickers and stuff on the back, and like it was a redneck shit kicking bar, and like somebody had pulled out behind us with their lights off, and they were following us, and we had like got so far down the road, and they like turned their lights on, remember? And you like freaked out, and I was like, I'm about to do to these motherfuckers what I did to that dog, and you're like, no, guy, don't. And I didn't, but I was straight up about to brake check that motherfucker and do some stupid shit.
That also reminds me of the night that we were driving, and they had just paved the road to Minor Hill, and it was just it didn't have any lines on it yet, and it was just solid black. And you were driving through, and you would just stop the car randomly. I'm like, "Why are you stopping?" You're like, "There's walls in the road." And I'm like, "No, there's not."
Yeah, I remember that.
Like, there's no wall. Actually, the night that we got pulled over, that's a good story.
I actually told that on one of the other another podcast. The podcast, a previous episode, should I say. But yeah, I told it probably horrible. You probably tell it better if you want to tell that story.
If you don't mind, if we have the time.
Yeah, we got the time. We can
all right. So this is actually super funny. So I was driving.
Yes, yes.
So for those of you, nobody knows this. For those of you who don't know me, I didn't get my license until I was 23. I was like 18 at the time. I was driving your car, and we had some alcohol in the car.
Champagne.
It was champagne. There was like a few bottles in the car, but I do remember there was champagne.
Yeah, definitely.
And so we came off this road, and I saw that there were cops, and I got nervous, and I was like, they're gonna pull us over. And you're like, what? And I'm like, they're gonna pull us over. We need to swap positions because they're gonna pull us over. And he's like, okay, cool. So as we're driving, we're like throwing things out the window, because I'm convinced we're gonna get pulled over.
Yeah.
We get to where I live, and we're like in my driveway, and then they blue light us.
Yep.
Right. So we get out of the car, and they separate the three of us, and they're asking us like a lot of questions, and they're like, where are you coming from? And we're like, we came from Minor Hill. We're going home, or to my house rather, and all that stuff. Well, while they had us separated, they had asked Derek if he would show his ID. So Derek hands them his Walmart discount card. And the cop comes up to me and he goes, hey, I asked your friend for his driver's license and he gave me his Walmart discount card. And so I pull the cop over and I like lower my voice. I'm like, so Derek he's not all there. Like he's not all there. And we've known him since we were, in grade school, and he's just like our best friend. We love him to death, but he's a people greeter, at Walmart. Of course, none of that's true. None of that was true. And so Derek hadn't heard any of this, like none of this. And so I was like, here, watch this. And I go, Derek, why are you coming over to my house? And Derek, without missing a beat, he goes, we're going to watch cartoons. And the cop just looks at me and goes, yeah, okay, cool. Here's his thing back.
Yes. At which point, didn't your dad come out and tell the cops to fuck off, and they left?
My dad came out. And he was like, get the fuck off my property. You ain't got no right to be, like, arrest me, like all that. It's just like, you can't arrest. He's just screaming. He was just screaming. And then they fucked right on off. But then they pulled us over again. Yeah. Because my mom called me and she was like, can you bring me some dinner? Because we worked at Walmart. I think we all worked at Walmart.
Yeah, we did.
And she was like, can you bring me some dinner for lunch? And I was like, sure. So I made her some stir fry, and we were taking it to her. This is like maybe 15, 20 minutes later. So we come out, and those same cops pull us over a second time, but they pull us out at Jeff's Grocery.
Yes, Jeff's.
I forgot the name of it for a second. So we both get out. They search your car. They do a pat down on me. When he gets to about my hips, I'm like, careful, Piggy, you're giving me a Woody. And he's like, he's clean. He's clean.
Yeah.
He's clean. He's good. He's good. Yeah, no, I think those are the most memorable trips.
That one was a good one. Yeah, I think I was the podcast with Nick Johnson where I talked about that, I think. But yeah, anyway, those were some great memories. Definitely great memories. But we're going to go ahead and move on to something else now. Now, another thing that I'd like to ask people about, I had called it poor life choices in the past, but we're going to change it to life-changing events, because a life-changing event could be something that changes you for the better, or something maybe for the worse, or just something that you want to share that, either changed your life in a way that's made you has made you better or something. Make sense?
It does. A life-altering, life-changing event that has affected me for the better or the worse. Oh man, that is That's a very good question. Let me think on this for a second.
Okay.
Because there's been a few. You know most of them. I think if we're talking about positives,
Mm-hmm.
I would say that one of the best things to ever happen to me was actually someone that I met.
Uh-huh.
And you know him, Steve Cott.
Yeah.
Uh, when I met Steve,
Uh-huh.
I was 21,
Yeah.
and I was directionless. I didn't really have, I guess, kind of a roadmap or any sort of blueprint for what my life was going to be like. I just sort of like threw caution to the wind and just drifted wherever anything would take me.
Yeah.
Um, and then when I met him, I just sort of, I guess he provided like structure and stability and kindness, and I say this a lot, but this is absolutely true. I feel like I was sort of a feral animal.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's like a weird thing to say, but I really, and this is true, I feel like every good part of me and every good thing inside of me
Yeah.
was taught by him.
Yeah.
And like I can never, I don't think I can ever fully, well, no, I know I can't. I cannot ever fully repay the debt, uh, to which he has changed my life for the positive.
Yeah.
Um, if we're talking about negative events, I think one of the hardest things I ever had to go through was actually a breakup.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk about that. I like in my music, I talk a lot about people leaving and things ending and things breaking and things falling apart, because I think that there's a kind of intrinsic beauty in that sadness.
Yeah.
And if I can write something or say something that helps another person look at their situation differently, or maybe for the better, or in some way gives them relief,
Mm-hmm.
then that, to me, I've done a good job.
Yeah.
So there was a breakup a really long time ago. I think I was I was young. I don't remember exactly what age I was, but I remember I was in love with someone.
Mm-hmm.
It was a long distance kind of thing, and it eventually, after about half a year, just sort of fell apart.
Yeah.
And I remember that was one of the lowest points in my life, and I handled it badly. I tried to kill myself, and I was in a mental institution for 2 weeks
Mm-hmm.
in Tennessee. And, it's just one of those things where, looking back on it, I'm like, well, that was dumb.
Wasn't that when we were hanging out during that time, correct? Were we? I can't remember.
I think it was the year before I met you.
Okay.
I think. And I like, I don't even know why it affected me as badly as it did. It just sort of felt like,
Yeah.
well, there's all of my options. They're gone. All
Yeah.
of my options are gone, and this is the only thing that's left. And thank God, well, I won't say that. Thank goodness the death didn't take. So
Yeah.
I think those would be my two answers for that, both
Okay.
a positive and a negative.
That's good. All right then. Well,
It's good that you tried to kill yourself. No, it's fine.
no. That's not good that you tried to kill. You know what I mean. You know what I mean, guy.
I know what you mean.
Thanks for sharing. I'm glad you're not
welcome.
dead.
I'm glad I'm not dead too.
Oh, aren't we all? Everybody
Yeah.
is.
Dude, it would make it so hard to masturbate if I were dead.
Ain't that the truth, man? Now, here's something that I want to just kick around for a while. I know we had talked about this before in the past, but making up fake conspiracy theories. We've come up with some.
Okay, so
Yeah, go ahead. Go. Fake conspiracy theory. Make one up.
Fake conspiracy theory. Oh, let me think. Oh God, you put me on the
9/11 was
spot.
an inside job.
9/11 was an inside job, but we had talked about this before.
Oh, the one about milk and laxatives in milk, right?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, yeah. That one.
Okay, so we were talking about. I'm sorry, I got a message. Okay, so we were talking about like a lot of people that we know are now lactose intolerant, and I'm like, you know what it is? They keep putting laxatives in the milk, and it makes you shit yourself really, really bad. And so, like, one of the reasons why everyone's lactose intolerant now is because milk companies, they want you to keep buying the milk, but they also want to low-key punish you for buying the milk.
That evil big milk corporation.
The Earth is actually flat, but because we're used to living in three-dimensional space, it just looks like a sphere.
The Earth is flat. What are some other conspiracy theories, though, that are interesting? I'm just trying to think. I think I talked about one last time about the Donald Trump time traveler one. I won't talk about that one, but there are just so many conspiracy theories out there, and you could just make one up about anything. It's kind of hard to be put on the spot with them, I guess. So.
Actually, I have a really. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is something I heard about.
Yeah.
There are goblins living in caves in Kentucky.
What the fuck? The Kentucky Goblin Cave.
That's exactly what the fuck the
Kentucky Goblins.
If you hear a banjo in the middle of the night, it could either be someone playing a banjo or a Kentucky Goblin.
Or both.
And the Kentucky Goblin is with the guy, and they're both doing banjos.
They're like having a banjo jam sesh. It's just like
the Goblin's like, the first one to be able to finish this song gets to rape the guy tied to the tree.
Oh. Loser has to clean out the meth lab.
Careful, it's exploding.
It's like Kentucky's version of the Jersey Devil, except white trash. They probably fucking like have a mullet and a 4-wheeler too.
The Goblins have like a mullet. Are you talking like the Goblins have like a mullet and a Power Wheels?
Yes.
This is my name's Montgomery, and this is my sister Methelina.
Yeah, Montgomery. That's a great name. The Goblin Montgomery and his sister Methina. Oh man, that's great. Let's freaking write a comic strip about that. The fucking Kentucky Cave Goblins. Watch for it. The Kentucky Cave Goblins.
It's just such a ridiculous thing. But like, I was watching this show on YouTube where these people like go to try to find the goblins.
Yeah.
And the funniest part about it is that obviously it's staged. Like obviously it's all like like everything is like completely staged and all of that.
Yeah.
But like there's this one part where there's this guy and he's talking about a tin can.
Uh-huh.
And then like they find a tin can where they go looking for like the goblins, and he's like, it's a premonition. And I'm like, or hobos.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah, that's fucking hilarious. I'm pretty sure they don't have many hobos in Kentucky though. They might in like the bigger cities, but I doubt. The South's pretty harsh, man. It'd be rough for people living on the streets out there. All right, that was fun. Now,
can you imagine if there were cave goblins though, just I hate to like
No,
interrupt you.
no.
Like, could you imagine though if there were cave goblins? Like, would people in Kentucky realize they're goblins, or would they just think that they're like just regular Kentuckians? Like,
I don't know. I've heard that like isn't bestiality not illegal in Kentucky. That's probably a lie that I heard, but I swear to God, I heard somebody told me that one time. I need to research it. Let's research. You're going to research right now.
Is bestiality, how do I spell that? Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Legal. I'm going to be...
You mean your autocorrect doesn't correct it for you?
Well, I'm on my PC. Wait, it's official. It will. Okay, so it looks like in I'm gonna be put on a fucking list for this. I just know I am. My personal CIA agent is just gonna be in love with this.
Are you just looking it up on Wikipedia, or is it like?
I just like typed it into Google.
You're just like looking at bestiality porn now, aren't you? KentuckyLove.com, home of the Kentucky Cave Goblins.
KentuckyLove.com.
Oh,
fucking, you just go there and it's just like pictures of horses like galloping across the fucking
oh my God. KentuckyLove.com.
KentuckyLove.com. Come get your goblin on. Okay. Here's, you want to know? Okay, there's a good sign, or
Okay.
there's a this is so stupid. There's good and there's bad to this Google search.
Okay.
The good part is bestiality in Kentucky is illegal.
Okay. Somebody lied to me.
The bad news is
Uh-huh.
it looks like it became that way in March 27th ish 2019.
So technically I was right up until last year. So it's recently just been changed. Wow, how progressive, Kentucky. They're going to be like California before you know it.
Yeah, I mean, like, the next thing they have to do, though, is make it illegal for cousins, I think. I don't...
Oh, man.
KentuckyLove.com.
KentuckyLove.com.
Goblins, horses, or your sister.
KentuckyLove.com.
Wait, I have to look. Is there a KentuckyLove.com? If there is,
make a profile on it. Oh God.
If there is, I will make a profile on it, but I fear that I may have too many teeth.
You must have this many teeth to.
You must have this many teeth to make a profile.
Oh shit.
Oh fuck. I'm sorry, state of Kentucky. I don't mean to insult any of you, but it's funny.
That's fucking hilarious.
All right. So what's the last question? Or next to last question?
Well, the last to close out, what I like to do is just maybe talk about what you do. I know you do music and whatnot. Mm-hmm. That's a big passion that you have. Just talk about your music and what you've got going on with that and your plans for the future with it, and we'll close it out with that, man.
All right. So currently, I did this. Okay, so I did a project. Let me back up a long way. I have to rewind.
That was me, right? Get it?
I feel refreshed. Yeah, it's like it's last year already, and I'm still a sick piece of shit.
And bestiality still legal in Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm going to Kentucky. KentuckyLove.com. So, by the way, that site, if you're watching, KentuckyLove.com is eligible. You can meet the love of your life there. You have to make the website first, but then after you make the website of the horses galloping across the whatever. Anyway, okay, I'm done.
Okay.
Okay, so last year I ended a 5-year long relationship, and I was pretty devastated. So one of the things I wanted to do was express that musically, and so I did this project where I was going to try and see how many songs I could write. For how long? Like, how long can I do this? Apparently, there's no end to that question because, like, in the last year, I've written over 100 songs.
Hell yeah.
I've put a lot of them on my YouTube account, mainly just to upload them, just so that they're that they're somewhere where I can just be like, this is the thing I did. It's shitty, but I like it. So I've been doing that, and in the process of this time, I've gotten a lot better at what I'm doing. But also, I started work on a project called Render Me, which we're planning on releasing in October. So I've been doing the editing and sound design for that, and that project is a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be initially. What ended up being what I thought was going to be a 10 episode kind of horror story is now a 40 episode horror story. We're planning on 4 seasons. It's awesome. Like all of that. So yeah, that's just sort of what I'm doing, and that's my passion right now is just doing a lot of that. I also do some commission work where people will be like, can you draw me this? And then I draw the thing for them. But I don't do that near as much as I used to, simply because I just don't have as much time as I used to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I just I sit around and I write sad boy songs.
Oh yeah. And what was your YouTube again? Just plug any of your social media that you want.
Yeah, I mean, just search my name, which is Izmeiah Brown. That's Izmeiah Brown, and I will show up on the YouTubes, and you can click the music.
And subscribe to his channel.
Please,
share, sub.
Like, share, sub. I have. The funny thing is, I haven't advertised. I haven't done anything, and I'm not really. I'm not really. Like, it's nice to have subs, but I'm not like actively like.
Yeah.
Sub me or I shoot you. Like all of that. But I have like 28 followers, which isn't like a lot, but
it's a pretty good bit.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's not bad. I think I only have 13 subscribers on my YouTube channel, so you're doing better than me.
Well, yeah, but I mean, as soon as this goes around the internet and gangbusters off, and people just see how funny you are. I mean,
yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. They'll see this background and it's like, wow, how long did it take him to make that in 3D paint?
Well, I'm a 3D modeler, and I'm looking at your O here, and I can count your poly count, but you know what? It's a good O.
Hey, it's a font I downloaded off the internet. I had to look up a tutorial on YouTube to get this font. This is the Death Jam font, or Def Jam font, actually.
Oh, when you were going to do the Def Comedy.
Yeah, but it's the actual font. I went and found the font that the Def Jam used for their logo and downloaded that, and I just made. I like the font, so I'm going to use this font.
It's a good font. I like that it looks kind of blocky.
Yeah.
I like that it kind of looks like somebody made it.
Yeah.
I know that sounds like dumb. Of course somebody made it.
Yeah.
But it looks like somebody unprofessional made it. And I think
that's what I was going for, I just want people to fucking look at it and be like, is this a podcast? Is it just two random people talking on the internet? I mean, is it? Is this a podcast?
I mean, is this a podcast? Do I live in a simulation?
We do. We most definitely do, and it's broken.
Totally. Absolutely.
Yeah. We need the disc has needed to be defragged since 2012, and it's just progressively getting worse. We need to fucking gather those files and get them all together and situated, but nope, they just won't restart the simulation.
And people, I've seen the argument: are we in a simulation? Ultimately, it doesn't matter if we are or if we're not. I like to think that we are, because we make simulations, ergo it's completely reasonable that someone has a simulation of us, right?
Yeah.
But then, like, the question is, what kind of simulation is it? I'm voting on the simulation is how fucking fast does a smart species kill itself?
Probably.
That's my vote. Like,
Yeah.
hey, they're really intelligent, but they're killing their planet. Really? Why? Greed. What?
Yes,
What?
that is the root of everything in the world, and shit just keeps getting crazy. But that's why we do podcasts and be creative, so we don't have to think about all that crazy stuff. But anyway,
time off the endless ticking of the clock. The TikToks.
most definitely. Anyway, man, Izzy, thank you so much for being on. It's been really wonderful talking to you.
Thank you for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, we gotta work on some stuff in the future, definitely. Thanks for being on. I appreciate it very much. I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. All right.
All right, man. I love you and thank you for having me.
Love you too, brother.